What's up, everyone? Episode 2 of the TSV Sports Show. I got my sports writers with me, Marco Milani, Jasper Lindsay, and Alvin Chang. And let's just hop right into it, starting with Monday Night Football last night. Chiefs winning 34-20 over Baltimore. It was hyped up all offseason, perhaps being the game of the year. The Chiefs came out to play, at least Patrick Mahomes going 31-42, 4 touchdowns, 385 yards. He also ran for one. But Lamar Jackson didn't have his best game, only had 97 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and a QBR of 40.4. Turn it over to Jasper. What was your overall impressions of the game?
Well, I think one of my biggest impressions of the game is less so Patrick Mahomes' offense, but the Chiefs' defense. I think this is one of the more underrated units in the NFL. They look good. I mean, they got Sorensen in the backfield, Frank Clark and Jones on the D-line. They look good. I think Lamar just had an off day. I mean, you're not going to see that from him that often. There were a lot of passes where he could have Russell Wilson is actually really good at this, where he just drops it in the bucket. But Lamar likes to just rifle it every time. And I think as he matures as a quarterback, he'll definitely learn to take the deep shots with a little more air under the ball. But overall, I just think this is a game that Baltimore is going to have to take with a grain of salt and just get back to the grindstone if they want to compete for a championship.
Yeah, he certainly didn't, throw the ball a lot downfield. His leading receiver last night was J.K. Dobbins, and, he only had 38 yards. Next was, Mark Andrews, 3 catches for 22.
That drop hurt.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was bad.
he had a lot of bad drops last night, both, for a fantasy perspective as well as, for the game. But, it's very early still. I'm pretty sure Baltimore isn't too concerned about how he played last night. But, at some point you do got to realize he hasn't beat Mahomes yet. But, that might just be a little thing, part of his career right now. But, for him to get over the hump, it's these small little hurdles that he needs to get through. Winning a game like this at home, Monday night, everyone's watching. He obviously needs to still win that playoff game first, but it's these type of games where, he is looked at a little bit more, because you could beat up on the Bengals, you could beat up on the Browns all you want. But in games like this, where everyone's watching and you have a performance like that, people are going to be looking at him different, as well as his team. Let's hop over now to the Sunday night game. Packers beating the New Orleans Saints 37-30. Quite a shootout. It's something we don't really always see, but it seems like Green Bay is a little bit loaded right now at 3-0, and with Aaron Rodgers just carving up teams the way he has. Turn it over to Marco. What was your takeaways from this game?
To all the Packer fans who said after the draft that we needed to draft a wide receiver, I hope you're eating your words now, because we have plenty of wide receiver depth. Allen Lazard is looking like an absolute stud. He is looking like the perfect person to take over that wide receiver 2 position, even without Devontae, for that matter. Big dog, Mercedes Lewis had a great touchdown catch. So everything was just firing on all cylinders Sunday night, and I, for one, loved it.
Yeah, it's big you mentioned without Devontae Adams. To put up 37 points without him is saying something. And like Aaron Jones, he didn't even have a big game like he's had the past 2. But like you said, Allen Lazard, 146, and then along with that touchdown, he stepped in nicely when they needed him most.
I got a hot take alert.
Yeah, what you got?
It's time to start Jameis. It's time to start Jameis. I need at least 2-3 interception, 3 touchdown games this year from Jameis. I mean, you have Kamara in the backfield just absolutely looking electric every night. Drew Brees, it's like his mind is still there, but his body's just given up on him. Like, he can see downfield and he can see the receivers he wants to throw to, but his body just can't do the deep pass. He looks hurt every time he throws the ball. Yeah, and I mean, that division is so tough this year. you have the Bucks with Tom Brady, who finally showed that he has some life left in him. The Panthers, they're going to be one of those sneaky teams that gets big wins but loses against bad teams. And I mean, yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm definitely a Jameis supporter as of now.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easy for them at 1-2. Tampa is 2-1 now. See what happens. I mean, once again, it's still early on. Like a lot of football left to be played, but any cause for concern right now with New Orleans?
I don't think so. Their run game's fine. I think once they get Michael Thomas back, I think Breeze will be back to his former self because he'll have his number one target. But going back to other night, also the rise of Robert Tonyan the past couple of games. That's something that I've wanted to say too. That he's becoming a great tight end too to go with that 3 tight end set. Unfortunately, Sternberger's not doing much. I was kind of expecting him to be the tight end 1 going into week 1, but things happen differently. I'm still okay with it.
Yeah, that's the thing about Green Bay. They don't have, the names that, are going to pop out. But, with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, he's going to find his receivers. And
he creates stars, man.
Yeah.
He creates stars.
Yep.
I think also what you got to mention with the Saints is the penalty problems. I think if they can get that figured out, they'll be a lot better off. The defense, I mean, they gave up 30-plus to the Raiders. And that's not saying much because the Raiders are actually not bad this year on offense. But I think if they can get the penalties sorted out, that defensive unit will be a whole lot stronger. They have good players. They have Marshawn Lattimore. They have Cameron Jordan. It's just about executing at this point.
Yeah. Let's turn over now to Niners-Giants game. Last week, we were a little skeptical about Nick Mullins hopping in and having a good game. Well, he proved us kind of wrong there. 343 passing yards, a touchdown, QBR of 80 even. But is this more just a sign of them playing the Giants, or is Nick Mullins actually decent than what we think he is?
You got to hand it over. You, Marco.
I think he's just he's really good. The thing I was saying this Sunday as I was listening to the game in the car on my way back home from church, both QBs on that team are excellent game managers, and they have talent now on running back, tight end, and wide receivers. I mean, you put Mullins in a good situation like that, he's going to thrive. And of course, like I said, he's been learning from Garoppolo too, so he's been learning some good stuff too. But 2 excellent quarterbacks on the team, how can you lose?
That's right. What I liked more just from watching that game was he just sees his reads. Like he really seems like he's under control all the time, even when the pocket is collapsing around him. But even then, like, he did take a couple sacks, but at the same time, if his plan A receiver isn't open, he looks over to plan B, and then he was checking it down. That's how they got a couple touchdowns in that game to Wilson and McKinnon. But he did have a couple good throws. He had a one over the middle. I believe it was to Ayuk, or it could have been Bourne, where he just really threaded the needle and got it over the middle to one of them. And I don't really see it being too much of a controversy, but the fact that they feel as comfortable to have Mullins throw the ball, what does that really say about, Shanahan and the offense? Let's transfer over now to college football. A lot of upsets, but it just felt great to, know that the SEC is back. If, we do have the Pac-12, the Big Ten coming up, but knowing that the SEC returned to action this past weekend, were we surprised by any of the outcomes?
I mean, we knew LSU was going to look different without Joe Burrow. I liked what Brenneman did, but it just wasn't enough. And I mean, I think it speaks less so to LSU's ability and more so to Mike Leach's offense at Mississippi State. I mean, he's bringing the air raid to the SEC, and that's something that no one thought would really work. But it's a new system that a lot of guys haven't scouted. And as good as Ed Ogeron is, at planning defenses, I think the air raid is definitely going to take a big step in the SEC this year. I liked what I saw out of KJ Costello. That's a great pickup for them in the transfer portal. I mean, anyone who throws for 600 plus yards is a stud. The one thing you do have to look out for with the Mike Leach offense in Mississippi State is the interceptions, though. As good as the air raid is with spacing, it does cause a lot of turnovers, and you saw that with guys like Anthony Gordon and Gardner Minshew. Minshew less so much, but Anthony Gordon, like if you're not hitting your receiver right where you need to be, I mean, you're probably going to turn over the ball, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, it throwing for 600 yards though in the SEC cannot go unnoticed. And
Absolutely.
whether or not, that's Mike Leach, whether or not that's Costello, who, by the way, Stanford legend, it's too bad, I mean, it is, good, though, that he is paired up with Mike Leach. That's really all I want to see from him. Can he might get drafted now, which, is good for him. But, do we see him being just, like Luke Falk, where he goes to the Jets, gets, no reps at all? Or do we see him like Gardner Minshew? Time will only tell. But if he can continue to do anything like what we saw on Saturday against LSU, he has a shot for not just getting drafted, but who knows, maybe even put him in Heisman consideration. It's still very early, but, we'll look at that. All right, let's shoot over now to the MLB postseason. No Giants will put a bow on their season in a little bit, but looking at the wild card series is a lot of good matchups. The AL started today, and the NL starts tomorrow. Any early takeaways, or what are we looking for going into the wild card series?
I think the Twins-Astros matchup is going to be interesting. That's two very high-powered offenses, and I think, honestly, my pick is the Twins to come out of that one. I think the White Sox are actually going to give the A's a tough time. That's a team that, even though they're ranked 7th, they're better than they appear. I mean, they're just chocked full of young guys who can just absolutely bash. You got Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Tim Anderson, Luis Robert. They look really good, and their pitching is starting to come around too, just at the right time.
How about you, Marco?
I'm just looking for some good baseball. The postseason baseball, just like postseason any sport, is completely different than regular season because you're kind of playing for your life, if you will. There are a lot of series that can give that excitement. The A's series can give some excitement. The Blue Jay series can give some excitement. In the NL side, the Brewers series can give some excitement because of Christian Yelich. I'm really excited just to see what or how good baseball that the MLB can create with these matchups.
Yeah,
I mean, you also got teams that are just haven't had a lot of postseason experience, like the Marlins back in the postseason for the first time since 2003. And the thing you got to look out for the Marlins is they've actually never lost a postseason series.
Well, it looks like, we'll just stop right there. Marlins are going to win the World Series, everyone.
There we go. You heard it here first.
Like I said, no Giants. It is unfortunate. Losing their last 4 out of 5 games. First 2 losses back on Thursday and Friday, just straight daggers, if you will, to their playoff hopes. But, what else more can be said about them? They had the tools to make it, but just overall just couldn't get it done. But what I want to say about them is just the lack of overall chances they had in their last 2 games, both on Saturday and Sunday. You can use Rob Drake, home plate umpire, as a scapegoat all you want, but when you look at just the fight they really put at the plate those last 2 games, I didn't see much. And, maybe that's credit to the San Diego pitchers. Maybe it's some of these players were just – maybe some of the Giants hitters were just pressing at the plate, trying to really hit, have the big hit, if you will. But it is a little bit just heartbreaking, a little bit, knowing that, Coonrod gave up that home run on Friday of the game 2 of the doubleheader. But what else more can be said? They just couldn't get it done, and maybe they could learn from this.
They're also a very young team, and I don't think anyone really expected them to be in the position they were able to get to. But I think also I've never liked Gabe Kapler as a manager. I mean, he's a big analytics guy, and the thing that made Bochy so successful in the MLB is that he managed with his gut, and I think there's still something to be said for listening to your gut over what maybe a matchup says or what this guy's hitting in this certain situation. I think you got to go with what you think can get the game done or get the win in that situation, and I just haven't seen that out of Gabe Kapler all year, to be honest.
Yeah, he was, earlier in the season, he was very criticized for, his bullpen decisions. And you could even look at, right now in that, on that game Friday, game 2 of the doubleheader, why did he even bring out Coonrod in the first place? And, he was just so wild. He had no idea where his fastball was going at all. And then, think of it this, he gave up the home run on a changeup. He just wasn't feeling comfortable at all. And then, they're saying he had the shoulder sprain. I think that was complete bogus. I think, they just wanted to get him out of there. But, who knows? Whatever happens, we'll never know. But, Kapler, he can learn from this. And, I think this means, too, that they need to look at their bullpen in general. Like, who are you going to keep? Who are you going to, try to look more upon? And I think we've seen the last of Sam Coonrod because of all of that.
If I can jump in here, you're saying the about Sam Coonrod and putting him in is kind of reminiscent of the 2016 series against the Cubs when I can't remember who it was who was in, and then Bochy pulls him for somebody else, and then they just completely blow the game. So
yeah, that was Matt Moore who started, and then he turned it over to his bullpen, and yeah, they gave it up to the Cubs, and we all know what happened with them. But just a final little say on it. They will try to look into everything this offseason. It's going to be very interesting. We'll see what Farhan in the front office do. Hopefully, they're a little bit competitive going ahead with a full season.
If I could add one more thing on the matter, how close do you think they are to completing their rebuild? Because, could this season just be an anomaly and they're still further from their goal? Or is this something they can actually build off going forward? And it'll be interesting to see how aggressive they are in free agency based on this season's results.
I don't think the season was a fluke in any way. I mean, some of the win, they were playing a lot of AL West teams, the Texas, the Rangers, Diamondbacks, Seattle, even though Seattle was trying to contend there for a wild card spot, they won the games that they needed to win. But you do see the pieces there as well. When you look at their offensive stats, they can hit, they can score runs. You don't really know who's going to do it every game, but, they have the capability of driving in runs, hitting for average and all that. I think more it's just you need pitching. You can't, Samar's just gone, thank God. He's been stealing money for us for the past couple of seasons. But, he's gone, so they could, try to find an actual number 2 or number 3. I like Gosman. He did very well for us. He's come out saying that he doesn't want to go. So maybe they bring him back for another year or 2. But like I said, they said it all season, are they going to trade? Are they going to get a closer? Are they going to, trade for a setup guy? That's what they need to focus on. They can focus on if they can strengthen their pitching, whether that's in the rotation or in the pen, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
what do you guys think of Joey Bart after what you saw with him? I mean, yeah, he wasn't the leader he wasn't bad, but he did have a 2.4 .240 something batting average. So that's pretty good for would you call him a rookie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously, what was it? Donovan Solano who won the batting title for the Giants. I think he did good. But what do you guys think of him?
I think it offers the Giants a perfect opportunity to move Posey to first and trade Bell. Because now yes, it's a short season, but with a full season, Joey Bart's going to be good. He's the real deal. You saw flashes of it this year. I think you just need to get rid of that Belt contract, and that way you can have a lineup with both Posey and Bart, and you don't have to interchange the two. I mean, it'll also allow you to extend Posey's career by maybe 2 or 3 years because you're not putting any more pressure on his knees. I think I liked what I saw out of Joey Bart this season. I think he can replicate it, if not even achieve more going forward.
Yeah, everyone's gonna look. Oh, he didn't hit a home run. Like, no, it's not. That's not really important. Pitchers learn how to pitch them. That's what it was, and he wasn't able to make any. He wasn't able to improve at the plate because they were not throwing him any fastballs in like at all. They were pitching him away. They were throwing curveballs, sliders. They were throwing everything at him, and he just couldn't react enough in the 60 games to improve because they were in the position they were in to say, you know what, we need you behind the plate more than anything else. If he could hit, that's a plus. But but here's the thing. What I find very, very significant what Longoria said after the last game, saying how Bart needed Posey to be around. I don't want to take that as a jab, maybe as Longoria to Posey, but realistically, I don't know what Posey could have been teaching Bart at all. But it is to be said though that next year, he'll have him there around, and he could only get better. All right. Lastly, let's talk about the NBA Finals. Finally, it seems like everything's coming quickly now, but we do have Miami Heat going up against the LA Lakers. Starts tomorrow, Wednesday, the 30th. Turn it over now to Alvin. What are you looking for in these finals?
Well, honestly, I think this is very important for the Lakers after Kobe Bryant passed away from January. Talking about the finals, I think the final experience is very important. Let's talk about the Lakers first. In the Lakers roster, they only have 3 players who have finals experience, which is LeBron James, Roger Rondo, and Danny Green. However, for the Miami Heat, the only player who has final experience is Andrew Iguodala. This is the 6th consecutive season that Iguodala entered to the finals. But when talking about this playoff, I think for Lakers, LeBron James and Anthony Davis is very important. LeBron James scored 26.7 along with 10.3 rebound and then 8.9 assists. And Anthony Davis also important scorer with 28.8 points with 9.3 rebound and 1.2 block. But for Miami Heat, I think they play team basketball. I have to give credit to the rookie shooter, Tyler Hero. In this playoff, he can score as a rookie. He can score 16.5 points and with a 37% of three-pointer. So I think the Miami Heat can focus on three-pointer. They not only have Tyler Hero, they also have Duncan Robertson, who can give 40% on three-pointer. But overall, I think the final experience will be very important. So in this finals, I think Lakers can win in 6 games.
6. It should be very interesting. Anyone else have any predictions?
Yeah, I actually have a question for Alvin. Do you think if LeBron wins it, is this the finals where he cements his legacy?
Yes, because you can suppress Magic Johnson and other legend player. Because LeBron didn't win the MVP this year, and then like he said I picked myself. So I think in the finals he just want to prove himself that I'm a real MVP.
No doubt. And if he does win this final, where does he stand with Laker legends such as Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, or Shaquille O'Neal, in your opinion?
I think because the last time the Lakers win the championship back to 2010 or 2011, and after almost a decade that Lakers have an opportunity to win a championship, and then without a big leader, LeBron wants to prove that he's a true leader. He can lead any team to win a championship.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing LeBron on the Lakers, though. There's just something about it that it doesn't feel right. I don't know how to describe it.
It's all for
Yeah.
it's all for the money.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. All right, so we heard it from Alvin. He has the Lakers in 6. Marco, how do you see this finals going?
I'm not sure. These are two good teams. Obviously, the Heat are stacked. Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Andre Iguodala. They have some good. There's some also good players on the Lakers. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, a lot. I'm going with the Heat in 7 though. I think the young team's going to prevail.
Wow.
Also, I think the X factor for Lakers will be Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, and Anthony Davis in the paint. Because when talking about the Heat, they only have Ben Adebayo who dominates in the paint. So I think if Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, or either JaVale McGee can guard Ben Adebayo in the paint, they will try to destroy Adebayo's score ability in the finals. So I think the X factor, I will give these 3 guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for watching TSV Sports Show. Make sure to follow the Skyline View on Twitter and Instagram, as well as our Twitter handles below. We'll be back next week for another episode of the TSV Sports Show. Thank you.